Yeah, boy.
What's up,
You know
Fred?
what it is. We had to do it to him. We had to do it to him.
Remote. This is Music and Mental Health Remote Edition, Corona Edition, COVID Edition.
Music and mental health. Kind of hard to find. Like a remote. That's the old line, like comment. You know what I'm saying? From Get 'em High, College Dropout. Real rappers hard to find. Like a remote.
Who the hell is this? Emailing me at 11.
At 11:26, telling me that she 3626 plus double D. Nah, girl, I'm Black Planet E when they give bubble tea at NYU, but she hailed from Kansas. Right now she just landed, chilling on campus. Who said her favorite was a great sis? WHIT, it's getting late, mommy. Your screen saving 6 weeks, so you got to come in and bring a friend for my friend. His name, Wally. You mean Talib? She's in the crib. I mean, that's my favorite CD that I play in my crib. I mean, I don't really know him. Why you mind? You're quiet. She don't believe me. Please pick a line. Just pick a couple of lines. Don't think that I'm lying, and maybe I'll be able to give her all the time and get her high.
I like the first Talib line, which you missed, which is my name Talib, lyrics stick to your rib. I like that.
Talib Kweli. Shout outs to real MCs out there. Shout outs to conscious rappers right now. It seems like we all need some more conscious music. It seems like, according to analytics, the data shows us that individuals are going back to the classics, okay? More so than the new material are out here, because I guess we as individuals are so locked up, we need some familiarity. Familiarity. Is that the word?
Well, I think that we've got a lot of active listeners today, because if you're sitting at home and you got nothing to do, you're actually listening to music, as opposed to like going to the bar or going to a club where they're playing just like what's popular at the moment. When you sit down to actually be entertained just by music solely, you know, you have to listen differently. You can't do it like you're exercising or you're driving in the car or something. It's different. It's an active kind of listen.
Yeah, no doubt. And they say classical music is up as well. Classical, how soothing it is. How soothing Bach, Beethoven, maybe not so much Igor Stravinsky's and Firebird suites out there, but you know, that's pretty intense if you know what I'm talking about. Yeah,
that's my dude.
I like Tchaikovsky, I like Stravinsky, but like I said, Stravinsky's a little wild for right now. Might be a little bit dark. Firebird suite comes on and it's no joke. It sounds like a very haunting thing.
Is that what you're listening to right now?
Oh, yeah, that's not the album to go to right now. But you know, me personally, I've been listening to a lot of Oscar Peterson radio. I'm like, yo, Siri, play Oscar Peterson radio, and I let that motherfucker just play all night. And I'm just taken away by the sweet sounds of Duke Ellington, Thelonious Monk, around midnight.
Well, I'm still listening to new music.
Bear with us, ladies and gentlemen. This is our first music and mental health remotely. We are practicing over 6,000 feet of social distancing here. A lot more than 6,000 feet.
6,000 miles, more like. But.
Yeah. This is wild. This is the world. This is the world we live in, ladies and gentlemen. To do this, we got to do what we got to do. You got to be
going
where that they want you to be. Yeah, and we got to keep going. It's importantly, we can't stop. You know, whatever it is that you were doing before the world stopped, don't let the world stop you. You know, keep moving, keep rocking.
Find a new way to do it. Adapt. That's our biggest advantage as humans, is we can adapt. And you do, right? A lot of people are sitting at home, but they're still mostly okay. Like, they're mostly okay, right? And That's how people adapt. I'm still listening to new music, as well as some older music. In fact, I you know how like in 2008, 2009, 2010, like Lil Wayne like remixed everybody's song, and that's like how he got to the next level. Well,
The old mixtape, the real mixtapes, is
yeah,
what you're referring to. And the origin of mixtapes. Mixtapes were when artists would hop on other people's music and put their rendition on it, put their flavor and their spin on it, and then they would release it for free via some platform entity like Dat Piff. And then everybody gets to download that material for free because the artist isn't making any money from that music because the music compositions are copyrighted by other artists. So that's the whole point of mixtapes, you know, like we can't forget why mixtapes were created, ladies and gentlemen. And we can't forget the importance of that form of mixtape. So when individuals hit me up and they're like, oh, I'm dropping a mixtape soon, I'm like, okay, let's check it out. And then I see this all original material. I'm like, bro, why didn't you just call this a project? This is an LP or an EP.
Yep.
So anyways, back to what you were saying, Mr. Nobody Knows.
What I was saying
doing right
what I was saying is
now.
it was a really awesome time in music, and I loved all those songs so much. But what I discovered is because of their mixtape nature, they were not released by any major labels. You largely cannot find them on any of the streaming platforms, which is kind of wild because they're like some of my favorite Wheezy joints. And so I've been making an ultimate Lil Wayne playlist offline because they're not on the streaming platforms.
Have you downloaded Dat Piff to your Apple device?
Sure. Yeah.
And you're not able to find any of the Wheezy on there? The dedications?
Yeah, no, some of them, the big ones are on there, you know, like No Ceiling,
Yeah.
whatever. But I'm talking about like the Drought 4 I want, you know, like 2008. I'm in the
Yeah.
my stepmom's Lexus SUV whipping, you know.
Whipping it through the OC, like, cops can't touch me.
Yeah.
I'm B-Day. Well, I got to be real with you, Mr. David. Not only have I been listening to jazz, but when I take my walks in the backyard, which I am doing, I am walking in the backyard. I am catching as much vitamin D when I have the opportunity to, as we're allowed. As I recommend, any individual with a backyard or any individual that is able to maintain social distancing and get outside, I do recommend you all do that because it is highly uplifting. It is needed for the human biology. Like, you need to get outside. And when I'm out there, I have tapped into some new music, recent releases, one of which being the new Thundercat album. It is what it is, produced by the legendary Flying Lotus and written and arranged by Thundercat. I'm sure. I mean, I'm just assuming that there's some amazing songs on there. There's a joint with Steve Lacy and a couple other artists called Black Goals, which is probably my personal favorite. There's also another song on there, the track list here, that I'm loving right now. It's so nice and uplifting, this song, and the song is called I think it's called Funny Thing. It's 1 minute and 57 seconds. A very, very nice melody for Thundercat. I know Thundercat usually drips in wild key signatures and tones, and his harmonies are nothing from this world, as he clearly states with his intro track, Lost in Space. But as I mentioned, Funny Thing is the main joint that caught my ear. And the other joint that I mentioned was Steve Qualls. It's Qualls. I'm sorry, Black Qualls. Black Qualls. That's Qualls, right? I believe.
Qualls? Yeah, Qualls.
And that's featuring Steve Lacy, Steve Arrington, and Childish Gambino.
Oh wow.
Crazy song. It's a banging song. The whole album's banging. That album's so good. I had to go back and listen to the previous Thundercat album, Drunk. I'm a big Thundercat fan. Do you like Thundercat?
You know, I'm not as familiar. I got to go listen to the stuff you just suggested, honestly. Yeah.
Check out the album, man. It is what it is by Thundercat. Highly appropriate, I think, for these times. Uh, just the mood and the vibe just feels right. Soulful at times, spacey at times, out there at times, but that's my new pick for the week. And I still haven't gotten off of that J Electronica album.
Oh,
I
it's
think that joint is banging,
it's really,
banging, banging.
it's really good.
I love it. Jay-Z's dancing all over that.
I mean, he's on almost every
Lyrically
song. I think.
speaking, we know Jay-Z. I mean, to me, it's like Watch the Throne 1.5 minus Kanye. Um, so
Which
I
is a
think a lot of people don't even realize it's actually out there. I feel like this album came out and only those who know really know. And applause to Jay Electronica, in my opinion, for just kind of rolling it and rolling with it and not just letting the music be the music. I think the music speaks for itself.
I think it shows that
And
he's.
again, I think this is also a go ahead.
I said I think it shows that he's a very secure, mature artist. That he's
Yeah,
able to have this joint album with Jay Z, and it doesn't even say Jay Z anywhere. Like we
right.
had this conversation about the pros and cons of Jay Z not being uh, like featuring Jay Z, you know, not having his name in the titles and on the album and stuff. But I don't know. I think it's like it works for Jay Electronica because he has such this underground, like authentic hip hop following. But I'm not sure how well that would work for a lot of artists.
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned, yeah, I think that's highly unique and applause to him for just picking up the sword and rolling with it like that, just banking on the music. You know, it's not about the artist's name. It's not entirely about the executive production, but it's about the music and what the songs say. And a lot of these songs speak to me on a big, big level. Mature album, um, and you know, I think the production on the J Electronica album is also something to mention because it's so not what's been happening in rap. A vibe and a feeling and an energy, and less focused on a sound and like this aggression that is so constant in music of 2019 and early
Well,
2020. Like
you
we
made
all know
that there's
that it's all about the drums and the bass and the 808 and not so much about what people are actually saying. And to me, the production of this album still is really pushed to the front because of how unique it is. But at the same time, it's the artist and the message of the song that is even more front of that. And the fact that the production is so minimalistic in a sense, you know, not coming from this, oh, pounding 808s, this shit has to bang. Yeah, don't get me wrong, a lot of those beats bang, but they bang from a very different sonic level in terms of frequencies and, you know, lower levels of subs and bass. Like it has just like this different feel to it, which for me is so fresh. It almost feels like a museum when I listen to it, or like I'm walking through like this gallery
well,
and
what I
I
was
stop
gonna
at
say,
this
yeah, I agree.
beautiful Van Gogh, and then I walk over to this Picasso, and it's just like, wow, like, you know, this, it kind of hits you like that, like just listen to this. And that's another album that has the huge replay value, because every time I hear it, I hear another crazy bar from Jay-Z that went over my head the first time, or Jay Electronica says something from just this complete unique perspective, which is so fresh. So I highly recommend both of those. Check out the new J Electronica project. Check out the new
There's,
Thundercat.
there's
B Dave is on Wheezy.
There's so much bass in that album. Like it's so airy, the vibe and the beats there. Like there's a certain like tonality to not having something in every second.
Yeah,
I feel like so many of these
that's what
modern
I'm saying.
rap songs are just like
And
so full.
I saw today on Instagram, it was an interview between Timbaland and Mike Will Made It. Mike Will Made It, super producer uh, for countless number of artists. He said, quote, I believe, it's the producer's job to keep the listener's attention. And I think that's very true for, 2019 music, early 2020 music. But is that going to be true forever? I don't think so. I don't think that will necessarily last. I think music kind of shifts in a pendulum, right? It goes back and forth, and trends come in and out. I think right now we're definitely on this production intense kind of like beat heavy, banging ass 808, like slaps. This shit is crazy. The hi hats are going all over the place. The tuning on the hi hat, all that shit that's happening. I think we're about to jump right back on the other side of that pendulum now, which is going back into songwriting and lyricism, conscious material, where artists aren't going to be able to hide behind the beats for too much longer. I think the world is elevating the conscious realm of what we know as this stage in our evolution, because we are all hopefully raising our frequency and getting to the next level of this conscious new world that is required to maintain positive mental and physical health. There's going to be an appetite for music to come with that. And what's going to get left behind as that pendulum is swinging is the material that doesn't have substance. People need substance. Like we said at the start of the conversation, like people are intently listening to music now because they're not driving to clubs. They're not going out for drinks. It's not just a feeling. It's not just, oh, I want to have some fun. Let me go somewhere. People are sitting down and they want to hear a story right now. People are sitting down and they want to hear something that is going to get them through the day, whether it's a message, whether it's an idea, whether it is a sad story or a hopeful one. I mean, I listen to a lot of Nina Simone during these times. Why? Because Nina Simone is able to capture those key points that I'm mentioning as a songwriter. Nina Simone is arguably the greatest songwriter ever. I mean, to an extent, she's definitely the top of my top list as far as music goes. And I think that's what these analytics are showing us, these Spotify. Everyone's going back to their old favorites because this new stuff isn't relatable right now. I can't relate to turning up, snapping and doing a dance, the shuffle, or whatever you want to call it, a slide. I can't relate to sliding right now because I ain't trying to slide. Right now, I'm trying to like glide and coast with the most just calm host. Like I just need my shit like just relax right now because we're constantly being bombarded through the media to be afraid of things. And a lot of this where music was, doesn't really match up. This turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up doesn't match with I'm kind of scared. I'm this world, what's going on? It doesn't go together, It's more like, oh, what's going on in this world? I got to figure this out. And then it's like, you know what? Let me relax. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. I need some of that.
So along those lines, the more serious songwriting, like deeper music, I've been listening to this album, which I love, by Jessie Reyes. You know her? You familiar with?
Of course, I was at Jingle Balls with the homie Bob in Phoenix, Arizona, and I watched her set back or in the back of the house, and then as soon as she came on stage, I went backstage personally just to be like, "Yo!" Like I wanted to see her when she came down the stairs and be like, that was amazing."
So
She was doing very different material then, though. I will say that, but
yeah,
great, amazing artist.
originally I learned of her through Eminem. She's done a couple Eminem hooks, and there is one Eminem track on
Yeah, he's on the new album.
Coffin.
I saw that.
But that's not my favorite one by far, man. There's some really good ones on there. Roof is amazing. But then also the title track, Kill Us. The name of the album is Before Love Came to Kill Us.
See, and I know you sent me this song the other day. And I want to tell you why I can't listen to that.
Please.
The title does not match where my mind wants to be right now. And that might seem silly, but I know we've talked in the past on music and mental health about speaking things into existence, bringing things into existence. The last thing I want to hear right now, I don't even know how the song goes. And this is no disrespect to Jessie Reyez. Like I said, I think she's an incredible artist. But me personally, I can't get down with a title like that because that's poisoning my surrounding. And we have to be careful with what we listen to during any point in our lives, whether it's a pandemic, whether it's a night out, whatever it might be. Words have power. The constant repeating of words has power also. And I cannot submit to that type of power, you know? I'm much more comfortable with titles like How I Feel or Funny Thing from the new Thundercat album. It is what it is.
Wow.
I don't see any titles on here necessarily that speak to me in a negative mindset. And I'm all about surrounding myself with as much positive energy as possible right now. I do think it is important to stay informed. I do think it is important to check to an extent, to a limit, but the music and what we digest right now is just as important to, you know, how our mind feels. So before I completely cut out this new material, which I'm sure is great, I haven't heard it yet. Why don't you go
Due
more
to
into
the
it?
fact that you haven't heard it, it's not about death. In fact, it's about love. She's just saying that love was so powerful that it actually killed our relationship. That's really the message of the song. Um, but
So
anyway, you were talking
why
about.
couldn't the song be called Powerful Love? Or why couldn't
It's unclear
the
why.
song be called
It's
What
unclear why
Happens
called that.
When Love, you know? That's my point, though.
Maybe it.
That's my point. That's a message that's being sent out. One more
Maybe,
time, you broke up there. Say it one more time.
maybe she didn't name it. Maybe it was some clunky, honky like me that named it. You don't even know.
I hope she didn't have honkies like you naming her albums.
But I mean, the music industry is crazy, man. You don't know how things turn out. Anyway, you were talking
And
about.
once again, I hope nobody misquotes me on this. I saw Jessie Ray, person, amazing, incredible artist, songwriter, musician, performer. Saw her backstage, dapped her up, big thumbs up. You're amazing. We exchanged a couple words, and then that was it. Once again, that's no disrespect to her. I'm just talking about specifically the state that we're all in right now and the mental exercises that we can all do as individuals to strengthen our frequencies, to strengthen our mind, our
I
heart,
think really
and our
what you're
soul.
talking about is you, which is a great transition from music to the mental health portion of this podcast, which is to say, I think everybody's mental health has been impacted by this global crisis that we're going through. But speak about yourself. How are you adapting? How are you coping? What are you doing with yourself currently?
Well, trying to be creative, of course, as always. I'm trying to create a schedule for myself
Mhm.
in terms of the day, a mental schedule. I'm not writing anything down, an agenda, but I definitely think, okay, I want to accomplish this today. Playing a lot of guitar. Guitar is my newest favorite pastime,
Play
as
a
I should say.
play a
No, I won't play a song, but I will say that this has been one of the greatest things for my mental health because it's allowed me to stay focused on something else. And this is what I say on Twitter to my individuals and my friends, my family, my followers, whatever you want to call them. You got to stay focused on something. But you have to be informed and you have to question things. We can't live in a world ask why. The moment we all just don't care why, we don't ask why, we lose control of who we are. We lose control of what we believe in and what we stand for. So I wake up, I genuinely, genuinely I do genuinely, but I think the word I was looking for is generally. I generally go straight to Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing for me has been a great escape route for this madness. March Madness, as I equated it. Now it's April. Today's April 7th. Um, you know, we've all been on lockdown for some time, and Crossing, Guitar, and Oscar Peterson are probably my greatest band-aids through this mental cut that I've had. When the cut, I'm feeling the pain because I'm a bit constrained. The future me is constrained. The future me of my plans and my rollouts and my dates and my objectives has been wounded. The current me, the present me is okay. The present me, presently speaking, is optimistic. The present me is hoping for the best, but I don't allow my optimism to get in the way of my consciousness. Um, and that consciousness is the key ingredient that I'm advising everyone out there listening to practice more of now. Because that's what's gonna flip your personal pendulum from one side to the other. And we all need to raise our frequency through through prayer, through meditation, through proper diet, through hydration. Hydration is so important right now. We should all be drinking as much water as possible. I have a tea on the daily. I cut up fresh ginger and I add that to my tea with some citrus and lime on the daily. Hot teas are an amazing thing during this period of our lives right now. I recommend everyone out there drinks 1 to 2 cups of tea a day, and that's a very hot tea. I recommend everyone out there practices keeping the greatest diet that they can possibly keep. And I do think that this tea is very beneficial for my mind and body. I do think that eating, plenty of vegetables and, whole grains, beneficial foods is definitely boosting me
Get your
because we
green
want
tea.
our immune systems right now to be as strong as possible. My guitar skills have gotten so much better because that's one of my favorite escapes right now because I'm able to challenge myself mentally. We have to challenge ourselves mentally or our mind will wander into things that don't challenge us at all. It's
Yeah,
so easy to get scared and worried right now. I don't think it's ever been easier for individuals to get freaked out. I don't As a whole, the whole world right now, not by staying distracted, but by staying focused. I think distracted is a poor word to use. I'm not necessarily binging on uh season after season of Netflix. I don't think that's a good move. But I will watch Luke Cage maybe once a day. That's my joint right now. I'm going through Luke
it's
Cage.
like you said earlier, you have to create some kind of routine for yourself. So like for me, I try to do at least like wake up, take a shower, have a cup of coffee, like have at least 3 or 4 hours of semi normality, try to send emails, do whatever work you can. And then, yeah, at night and stuff, like, of course, I watch Netflix. Of course, you got to, it's just entertainment, but you, you should maintain as much of a routine as possible, I think, like you said.
Right. Entertainment is great to an extent if it is monitored at a reasonable dosage. But what's work on ourselves more so than working on anything external in this world. I know there's individuals out there who don't function well by themselves, who thrive off of social interactions, who thrive off of social engagements and going places and doing things. The best way to work on yourself is through meditation. The best way to release stress is through meditation. The best ways to eliminate worrying and doubts through meditation. I don't think there's ever been a more important time in anyone's life for meditation. It's like the second that moment hits in your day, everybody's going to feel this moment in their day. It's going to your mind's going to go whoop and just kind of run off in the deep end of this dark trail of what if and what's going on. And everyone out there needs to understand that's completely normal and for doing that. But you have to medicate that. And the only way to truly medicate that, in my opinion, is by taking a deep breath. The repetitive nature of the sequencing of breathing in and breathing out in a calm, quiet place is the tradition known as meditation. And you got to do it. You got to meditate right now, guys. Like, I have to meditate right now. And I want to remind everyone that I think I'm an introvert. I think I've never realized how much of an introvert I was until now, because I'm perfectly fine with being inside. I'm perfectly fine with having the opportunity to get up and see and long as I can. I'm in a couple instruments and a PlayStation and a Nintendo. Like, that's like all I need. But then there's that social interaction too. I think we're social individuals, and to those individuals who don't have anyone in their direct environment to communicate with, I would advise you socially to make more phone calls, have more conversations face to face with individuals through phones and FaceTimes and Skypes and Hangouts. Talk to people about how you feel. Talk to people about what's going on in your lives. Use your friends as therapists right now. Brandon is my personal shrink, and I am going over my day-to-day agenda, and it's helping me solidify the fact that these things are actually keeping me grounded. These things are actually keeping me sane. They're keeping me busy, and they're keeping me focused. And you gotta focus on something. Don't focus on the news, because the news is only covering one thing right now. And if you've noticed, that one thing is on loop for 24 hours. So how many hours are you spending in front of the news? Mind you, people get it twisted sometimes. The news is your phone too. Social media is the media. That is the news. You can't hang out on Twitter all day and expect to feel good when the world isn't moving.
Ask people to meditate, but I think for some people that's too much. I think what they really need to do is just start by like putting down their phone for 4 hours. Like, that is the first step towards being able to meditate. You'll never be able to meditate if you don't first like disconnect just for a little while.
That's a great point.
You have to have space. You have to have.
Go ahead, finish. You gotta have space.
Yeah, you have to have the space to heal your brain. You have to sit quietly some time. You have to be in touch with yourself before you can even attempt to meditate, right?
Yeah, and I think you're hitting key points there. Very important stuff. You have to be comfortable with yourself. Like I said, there's so many individuals that are so used to fraternities or institutions and corporate lifestyles where they're surrounded by people and they feed on being in front of people. They feed on interacting with people. And we're all in a world now where you cannot do that. So what are you going to do? Are you going to suffer? Are you going to break rules? Are you going to run around? Or are you going to sit the fuck down and just, exactly like Brandon said, turn the phone off? Even then, start there. Turn the phone off and pick up a book.
Yeah, you got to adapt.
Turn the phone off and pick up an.
Yeah, no, you have to adapt. I'm one of those very, very social people. Like, I don't know if you take those tests or whatever, personality test, I'm like 70, 80% extrovert as opposed to introvert, right? But during this time, like, yeah, it's weird for me. I'm used to having multiple business meetings, multiple personal meetings in a day, like 4 or 5 people in a day. And what I've had to do is I've started to read more, and not just like reading for the sake of information, which I do all the time, every day, but like really trying to escape into a book, because you can only watch so many movies, and you can only listen to so much music. I listen to music every day, but you only have a certain attention span. You have to find a new thing for you to do, explore something new, take an online class. There's so many free online classes, I mean, I hesitate to tell you to go to YouTube because there's a lot of triggering things on YouTube, but there's other ones. Try Udemy, try Khan Academy. These things are set up for people to learn, and it's either free or very, very cheap, or learn an instrument. Get a really cheap keyboard. We were just looking on Amazon. There's like $50 keyboards. So yeah, find something productive to do with your time. You got to, because we're gonna come out of this eventually, and the question is going to be, who gained 30 pounds and didn't do shit, and who's going to come out of it with a new sense of purpose or self, and found a new way to be productive. And yeah, it's going to be really obvious which is which.
Yeah, no doubt. It's definitely separating the weak from the strong right now.
The weak
and
from
the strong. The strong right now are working. The strong right now are leveling up. The strong right now are pushing themselves. And I mean, we're all weak to some degree. I don't want to single out any individual out there, but let's say this: how many people out there right now can watch a movie on Netflix without looking at their phone one time?
So few.
And the second you open up your phone, you're no longer in the story. You have jolted yourself right back to the real world. You know that great feeling that you get when human beings used to go to movie theaters and see movies with a bunch of other people, and then you walk out of the movie theater like you're walking through like the darkness, and the door opens up, and as soon as that door opens up, you're kind of back in the real world, but you've literally walked all the way down the stairs. You came around the side, you looked up at the credits, and you're still there. You're still in a galaxy far, far away.
Yep.
And damn it, why would you want to tank that with some Twitter bullshit?
But see, I think this is the issue with the modern streaming platforms as a whole, is it's kind of their whole business model. They don't care whether you watch something intently. They only care that you keep paying the subscription. So there's somebody crazy loud outside. I don't know if you can hear that, but if as long as you're watching halfway, you're just putting something on, and it doesn't matter whether you're on your phone or doing something else, as long as you're using it.
Yeah, man, and that's what I'm saying. Like that media, bro. That's the trap. That's the media. And the escape is knowledge. Knowledge is power. You still there? Am I still coming in clear?
Still got you. I mean, your internet's whack, but yeah.
Yeah, man. As I said, I was frozen on my end, but knowledge is the greatest power you can give yourself as an individual, right? Whether that's knowledge in an art form, knowledge in science, knowledge in information, knowledge in books and in fantasy. These are the greatest forms of escape. If you can't read a book, write a book, right? Because there's a lot of individuals out there that don't like reading. Me personally, I don't like reading. Uh, you know, fantasy, fiction or nonfiction. It doesn't. I'm not really into it. The types of material that I like to read beneficial material. I like to read books that I know are going to make me stronger. Books that I know are going to help maximize my potential. I'll grab the first book here, which is most definitely the last book I was reading here. And what is it? Can anybody guess? This is a spiritual diary, an inspirational thought for each day of the year. Great. And then there's also another one here, The Art of Meditation. Great stuff. Forward yourself. So, Mr. Brandon, I know I rambled for some time about my mental health and
it was good. I wish that we all could
about the world's mental health. How is your mental health, sir?
I mean, mostly, man, all things considered, I'm good. And I'm pretty thankful because a year ago, last April, my mental health was quite bad, quite poor. And so to be in the midst of all of this craziness and to be feeling strong and solid, I'm really thankful for that. And, I have enough money. I've been able to continue working. And yeah, there's still video games and music and movies and lots of great content and art in the world. And I'm just thankful that I feel as good as I do, really.
Yeah, man, that's good. That's good. What game?
Playing all kinds of games: 2K, Madden, Call of Duty, Far Cry 5.
How's Far Cry 5? I never played that.
Dude, it's crazy. It's like an open world, but it's a small like hick town like Ozark, and there's a cult that's taken over, and you have to fight back against the cult. It's nuts.
Never played that. I really want to beat Fallen Order, Star Wars. I really want to beat that game. I am playing it on hard, but I can't put down this Animal Crossing, bro. Gotten so addicted to Animal Crossing, it's crazy.
That's funny.
That's just the game that I want to play. Like I do want to play Warzone on Call of Duty, but since I've been playing Animal Crossing, I haven't really played much else besides my guitar and my MPC.
Call of Duty's really heavy. You were talking about putting like good messages in your brain. Like Call of Duty is all killing and war. And like, again, I'm in a good place, so I'm not really affected by that stuff right now. I still find the news interesting. I'm able to put it in the right perspective.
Yeah.
Eric and I spend a lot of time laughing at the news, actually. But
me too. To be honest, I think the State of the Union address on a nightly level is quite amusing, if I may say so myself. It's ridiculous. But we won't get political right now. When my Call of Duty Warzone addiction was at its peak, and something about that game puts you on the edge more than like regular Call of Duty, like because everything is so delicate. It's like, okay, you drop down into this massive map. You don't have any weapons. You got to find a weapon. You got to run and you got to listen. That shit like raises your senses and puts you on edge. You see somebody, you start screaming, cussing at the screen. They knock you down. You're cussing deliberately. Then they throw you in the gulag. And there's nothing positive about that fucking thing. That thing is like a damn prison.
It is a prison.
And you wake up in piss, and there's like skulls and rats and rocks everywhere. That shit puts you on edge, bro. It's like, all right, and then they throw you down there and you're dueling, and there's 1v1, and you got like one shot from like ending it all or like jumping back in there. And bro, that game, yeah, I entirely agree with everything that you just said. Maybe that isn't the best game to be playing right now, because there's so much at stake when you play that game. Whereas on the other side of the spectrum, Animal Crossing, dear God, I am so happy for something so cute and cuddly to come at such a dark, destructive time in
Yeah.
the world's existence. Like, it's weird. It almost seems like they waited to drop Animal Crossing right now because they just knew that everybody needed to see like little dogs working out in the park and cows running around season shit. Because every time I walk up on Flo and she's singing those little town songs, I just feel good. And I see the sunset on Animal Crossing more than I see it set in the real world now.
Yep.
I don't know. What is that doing to me? I don't know. It's actually relaxing me. It's actually calming me down. It actually is my escape. And that's what I think is the key takeaway from this podcast today. I just encourage everyone out there to find your escape and to find your solitude, to find your solace and your peace, and your mindset within all of that. Because yes, I am hoping we all get out of this too. I am hoping, the world goes back to normal. But until it does, we can't sit there and look at the clock and watch the news and just the countdown for everything to get better again. We have to actively better ourselves. We have to act to get through this and raise your mentality, raise your consciousness, raise your mindset. Do research. Don't just listen to what your parents tell you. Don't just listen to what anyone else tells you. Figure out what you think as an individual personally. And when you figure out what that is, just keep it close to your heart, believe in it, and follow that. That's the best I got. I know we're all out here struggling right now, but I want you all to know that we all are struggling. And even I, who am the most optimistic individual, and my mind wanders. But I'm telling you that because I'm being honest, and it's a bit of humility. I'm just wanting you to know that I'm no superhero. I'm no different than anyone else out there. I just want to use my voice and my platform to just make everyone aware of how great they are as individuals and how much power they have as individuals to get through anything, whether it's what's going on now or what's going on 10 years from now or what happened 5 years ago. You have the power as an individual to get through anything if you allow yourself to, if you empower yourself to, if you elevate yourself to the next level. And diet, exercise, spirituality, praying, meditation, it is what it is. This is what it is. Shout out Thundercat, it is what it is. This is gonna be what it's gonna be. This is the new norm for music and mental health. If it's choppy, I can't necessarily apologize because this is the situation we're in. But I do appreciate everyone out there listening and watching today. I think the outro music is probably playing at this point, and the big red and blue flag, music and mental health, is just arising, ascending.
Been
And
fun.
I thank you guys for listening. This is the new norm. We'll do this next week again. We'll do it once a week until I'm face to face with my brother Brandon again. This will be it. And please excuse the technicalities. And please maintain your peace, maintain your calm. Be nice to your family. Tell someone you love them. Hold someone if you get the opportunity. Hug someone. Physical touch is very healing, and I know we're all supposed to be practicing social distancing right now. So I mean, individuals within your household, go to your family if you have the opportunity, and just be with each other, guys. Be with each other, and let that be enough. You are enough. You are everything that you need to be to get through this. All right? Sending love and positive energy worldwide out there. Take this positive energy, please. We're gonna get through this. Keep it moving, guys. Keep it moving. Stay focused. Focus. Expand yourself. Mentally expand yourself. Okay? This is the new world we're living in now. And we got to do something about it, personally, on a personal level.
It's good to see you, friend. Take care of yourself, everybody.
Good to see you too. Be safe. Be well.
Your friend.
Peace up. V's up. One love. Great call, my brother. Talk to you soon.